Do you want to become a great singer, but you feel that vocal exercise alone aren't cutting it? In this video, I'm going to share with you a game-changer secret that is going to take your singing to the next level. Now, this is for you if you want to be not only a nice voice, but a complete singer, and more than a singer, an artist. This is a video for you, not only if you are a beginner singer, but also if you have been doing lessons for a while and you do a lot of exercises and you still feel that your singing is not getting any better. My name is Jorgelina, I'm a vocal coach, and I specialize in teaching adults how to sing contemporary music from a functional approach, which means natural and easy, without losing the fun. Have you ever dreamed of becoming a great singer? You know, this is a dream that many people have, but only a few percentage of people actually get to that level. The problem with most singing trainings is that they focus on vocal exercises alone. And now, don't get me wrong, I am in love with vocal technique. Not because of the technique itself, but because of the possibilities that gives you. Now, always remember that vocal technique is there to give you tools to train your voice. Most singers get stuck on that. They just practice their exercises and then they go sing the songs and they wonder why the songs sound without emotion. If you are training your voice for the sake of training your voice exercises alone are fine. For example, if you are recovering from a voice injury or something like that. But if you want to be an artist with your voice, if you want to move people with your voice, and in the process also become a better communicator, you need to have a holistic approach to singing. And notice that with holistic, I don't mean that you're going to have to be meditating or anything like that, but more than we need to do things to close the gap between vocal exercises and songs sung with emotion. A lot of people come and tell me that they practice their exercises and then they go sing songs and they sound mechanical and they have no emotion. Don't get me wrong, the exercises are super important and you should definitely add vocal training to your singing practice. Exercises are repetitive, building routine, building muscle memory. If you get stuck on that, even if you have the best intentions, you're not going to be singing with emotion, because you're going to be singing and you're going to be thinking about your technique. And you're not going to be connected with the song, and the audience will be able to tell. In fact, very commonly you can hear singers that sing amazingly and it's hard to be moved by them. Singing is an amazing art and it requires you to use your left brain and your right brain, your creativity as well as your frontal brain to change habits. It's a very complex thing and it makes it an extremely special instrument. Commonly people get stuck in that exercises thing. Just have in mind that it only addresses the technical side of singing. So exercises are important to develop your tone, to develop your range, to develop certain vocal effects that you want to add to your songs. But technical is way more than just technical proficiency. It's about emotion, connecting with your audience, and making art with your voice. So not only requires you to develop your creativity, but also to have certain emotional intelligence developed that you can use in your songs while keeping yourself safe. So, all of that said, let's talk about the alternative. What do we do when we are stuck in the vocal exercises and that is not enough to make us a great singer? There are three major aspects of singing that you need to be developing from day one of your singing until you die. Vocal technique, that is one aspect. As well as your daily vocal technique practice, you want to also have your daily repertoire practice and also your musicality practice. And those are two aspects that are really neglected. They need as much importance as vocal technique. Otherwise, you are not a musician with your voice. You are just a nice voice, and that is very important to understand. The technical side gives you an amazing voice. The repertoire side gives you the emotional and expressive development that you need to become a singer, and the musicality aspect makes you an actual musician with your voice. Now, let's talk a little bit of how a training looks like. The important thing is that you start from where you can. If you only have 30 minutes a day, you have to commit to it and you have to organize a practice that one way or another involves those three aspects. Of course, if you have more time, that will be better. But as I always say, the most important thing is not to set a super high goal of studying 3 hours a day, because when people do that, then they end up being frustrated and not practicing anything because it's just really hard to commit to. So start by the minimum amount of time that you can actually commit to. And by the way, if you only have 30 minutes a day, go check the description below, because I actually have a super affordable program. It's designed to give you a 30-minute practice that you can do to develop your voice, and it involves song work and musicality as well. So you have the three aspects covered there. So go check it out, but let's continue with the topic of the day. We were talking about incorporating those three aspects. Now, very important here is that, let's say that you have 30 minutes. It doesn't mean that you have to dedicate 10 minutes to vocal technique, 10 minutes to music, and 10 minutes to repertoire. Depending of where you are in your process, that you're going to prioritize one over the other. But the three of them should always be present. You should not neglect those other aspects. It's kind of like having a balanced life in a way. You have different areas that you need to attend always, like your love relationship and your friends and your work and studies and your health, and you will always be prioritizing one over the other, and depending on what moment you are in your life, but they all should be present at some level in your life, otherwise you are out of balance. And in music is the same. We have to incorporate all the elements. So how does this look like? Of course, vocal technique, that is when, as I said, when you develop your voice and all the different aspects that you want to develop, and when you're practicing repertoire. Most commonly what people do is they warm up their voice and then they sing songs from beginning to end. You're never gonna get better at singing songs by them. When you're learning songs, you have to be patient, you have to slow it down, and you have to get to know the song. That is just for the music part. Being a singer also requires to little by little get in deep contact with the songs. That is going to require you to start being more in contact with your emotions. I know that most people kind of struggle with this. It's vulnerable to get into our emotions. Yes, it is, but it's necessary if you want to be a good singer. It's part of the deal. And you can start by doing something super simple. Like I will say that the first step for you as a singer is to identify what is the main emotion of the song that you are singing, and you have to name it. You can Google list of emotions. There are a lot of resources online that you can get, and you're gonna see that there are a lot of names that we don't use in common life, but to me it's really important that we have names for specific emotions. In fact, just to tell you a curiosity, when I'm from Spanish-speaking country, and I noticed that we have some words there, sometimes to name some emotions, and those words are not in the English words. And sometimes I'm feeling that emotion and I'm trying to name it in English, and it's like I get stuck and like I can't end up feeling it fully because I don't have the word in English. So I know that I have the word in Spanish and I can use it, but usually when I'm talking to my English speakers friends, then I have to kind of create a word to name the emotion that we have named in Argentina, but not here. So anyway, this is all to say that in order to be a great singer, you have to do a little bit of emotional practice within your repertoire. That is kind of basic. A lot of singers come and tell me that when they sing, they want to feel more expressive and they want to be more expressive. But they are also telling me that they are all the time thinking about the high note and they have no idea even what the song is about, what the story is about. So let's clarify something from the beginning, and it is that if you are thinking about technique, your emotion is going to be around that. Technique is great, but when you are singing a song, you are going to be expressing what you are thinking of. Just in normal life, if you are sad and you are talking about being sad, people is not going to perceive you as happy. It doesn't make sense. Your voice is a potent communicator of your emotions, whether you want it or not. So when you learn to be a singer and you incorporate this repertoire training to it, and repertoire, remember, not about singing songs from beginning to end, but about deeply getting to know your song and starting to engage with it from an emotional level. Of course, it's not about you dwelling into the emotion of the song, because we can't imagine a 2-hour concert and let's say that you are singing 20 songs with 20 different emotions. It will not be good for you. But as singers, what we do is we develop an emotional maturity that lets you empathize with the song while you having a primary emotion of safety and joy. That is very important. We don't want to become depressed. In fact, singing should be about joy, not about being sad every time we sing a sad song. We can be happy and still empathize with other stories, which is what we need for communication and storytelling. And then, as I mentioned before, the musicality aspect is really important. And this is when you learn to become a musician with your voice and not just a nice voice. So musicality involves you learning some music, of course, but also applying it to your songs. How does that look like? For example, that involves learning to improvise a bit. I'm not saying you have to learn jazz scat, nothing like that. Within the same songs that you are practicing, at least you want to make sure that you create a little bit of your own version. If you grab a popular song that has been covered by many artists and you listen to a lot of different versions of it, you're going to see that every singer sings it in a slightly different way. And this is super important. A lot of people think that the best thing they can do is to sing something exactly like the original singer. It's never going to be as good as the original singer. You have to make the version yours, and that is part of being a musician. Also, part of being a musician with your voice at the fundamental level is to start understanding things like how to find the key of the song you're singing, getting fast at transposing keys, and understand at least the basic language that a musician uses. Because in the real world, if you go sing with a band or with a guitar player or a piano player, it really comes in handy and it's gonna give you so many more opportunities as a singer. But also it's nice for the musicians you work with to speak the same language with them so you can communicate, and that will help you get what you want from them as well in a musical sense. So if you want to embrace your full potential as a singer, these aspects are to be included. And if you haven't already, I invite you to check the description of this video where you're going to find my programs in which I always take care of all these different aspects. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel and let me know in the comments if you want any other singing topic covered, and I'll do my best to include that in a future video. And by the way, if you are interested in developing your voice range, go to the description below because I have a free resource for you that you can start right away. It will help you in a safe manner to expand your vocal range.